Hi, I'm Natalia Nicholson, founder of Women in Digital Business, where we empower underrepresented women to thrive in the digital world. So welcome to the Queen of Funnel show. Let's get you unstuck. So the problem, why is your business not growing? Okay, why is your business, what is the likely reasons why it's not growing as fast as it should be? That's the problem we're looking at. And some are in anything in marketing, whether it's your business or looking at it from a marketing point of view, okay, you always want to make sure that, you're being intentional. So one of the problems, and you always want to be looking at the problem, the more we understand the problem is the more that we can implement a solution. So one of the problems is just that it's unpredictable. I don't know if you're in a place where sometimes it's like, oh, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Jesus. I have, thank you, Creator, depending on where you're coming from. I have got enough clients this month to do X, Y, and Z. Another month, there's just nothing coming in. It's unpredictable. You haven't got that consistency. And that can be a problem for many of us. The second problem is, being too pushy, that sales tactic. For many of us, especially Black female entrepreneurs, it doesn't feel natural to sell. For many of us, it feels like, we're having to beg or really put yourself out there. And then when the rejection comes, it's not nice. And sometimes we can be pushy because we want the sales to hurry up and come in. So we can end up being pushy with our sales and how we go about things because we just want to get the sales in. So, being too pushy can sometimes be a problem, or not being pushy enough, actually. Like I said, many of us as Black female entrepreneurs don't like selling. Selling's like a swear word. But when you learn how to sell authentically, that's when you start to see a big result. Another problem is just burning through cash. I'm going to do a podcast. By the time you've got to set up getting some equipment, you've got to get the software in. Going on programs, buying into software, freelancers, advertising, trying everything that you can to make sure that you've got some form of marketing system where you can be visible in this digital age, but also where you can get people to make aware of you, get leads, get calls, turn that into actual clients, turn that into money. And in your bid of doing that and trying all these different things, you're just burning through cash. Okay. So, what's our objective? Where do we want to go to? What do we do when we are feeling stuck? We are feeling frustrated. All we're doing is spending, 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 spending. We're not seeing the return on investment. Our business is making money, but it's just not where we went to be. We didn't come here to play small. Okay. We came here to go large or go home and really get to that 7 figures. Okay, so where do we go from here? We want some predictable sales. We want to understand, what are our objectives? What are our KPIs? What are we bringing every month? We want it to be more predictable, not just flying in the dark at the night and 1 month doing really well, another month doing not so well. Okay, we want to have trusted relationships and partnerships with our potential clients and our clients. Okay, once people trust you, they buy from you. In marketing, your whole objective to have a successful marketing campaign is for your end user and your prospect to get to know, like, and trust you. Okay, we want to make sure that we're profitable. Sometimes we're not really running our books and our accounts the way that we should be. What do I mean by that? Do we know how much it costs to run our business? What is the burn rate? Do we understand what is the cost associated with acquiring a customer? Your CPA, cost per acquisition. We've got to get to that point of being profitable. Some of us who even think we're profitable, we're actually sometimes not. We're at break even, or worse still, actually we're in a deficit because we're not thinking about all the costs, all the work, all the sweat, blood and tears, and what that looks like as a value, and then comparing that to what your income is. So we want some profit. So the goal is today to really give you a formula and framework for predictable growth and put you on a 90-day path to doubling your sales. Okay, we've got 2026 around the corner. It's time to do it now, ladies. Okay, so the agenda for today, we're going to get to know one another a little bit better, share framework and processes, and just decide if there is a fit, and discuss like what are your next steps in terms of how you're going to actually implement what it is that you're going to learn today. Most of you know who I am. If you don't, my name is Natalia Nicholson. I'm a certified digital marketing coach and consultant. I have been for well over 2 decades. I think it's coming up to 3. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've had multiple businesses. I'm the founder of e-commerce. I'm the founder of Women in Digital Business, which is a community um, business where it's our mission to empower 1 million Black female entrepreneurs so we can start building our own systems, our own content, and have ownership for that next generation. I've been featured in multiple places. At 47 years of age, I've got my proof of work. So I'm not a novice. I'm not just spouting scripts from you of saying I'm an expert. This is how I position myself. Sometimes the amount of events that I go to, and there'll be other coaches selling these high ticket programs where you can sell anything to anyone. And many times the people that attend these programs haven't been in the game for very long. And they end up selling to people when they've only been in the business a year themselves and don't have proof of work. Okay. I've got my badges, I've got proof of work. So a lot of what I'm saying, I'm speaking from experience of running my own community and e-commerce store, and experience of working with small to medium to corporate organizations with big budgets. So I get to see it from all different points of view. Okay. So it wasn't always this way. Proof of work takes a while. So when I really think about it, I quit my job coming up to probably nearly 30 years ago. And, I founded multiple businesses. Sometimes we get distracted by wanting all these streams of revenue and income, which is great. But if you can't even get one business to work, to be open at 1, 2, 3, 4 is madness. However, as an entrepreneur, we just can't help ourselves. It runs through our veins. We literally can't help ourselves. I'm like that all the time, making partnerships, wanting to start another business. You've got to be able to reach the objectives and KPIs in your main business of what you're working on now. I went through a lot of costly mistakes. I struggled to get sales. I struggled to build out marketing and sales systems that's really converted. And at the same time, I'm doing more and more and more, expanding and expanding and expanding, but I'm not making the money. Okay. So, where I am now, I wasn't always there. I had to learn how to be strategic. It's really important that you analyze where you are at this moment. You've got to identify those half-built bridges that keep you stuck. Half-built bridges is when you say, oh, I'm going to do a podcast. I know I'm going to swap software. If I swap to this software, the automation's so much better. It's going to give me what I need. I'm going to start my own newsletter, my blog. I'm going to go to StackStub. I'm going to try SEO. I'm going to revamp my website. And you're trying all these different things, and what you do is you start them. When you don't see the results, you tend to you end up in the valley of despair, and once you're in the valley of despair, you get really down, and then you just pick something new, and then you just keep staying in that cycle of being stuck. Okay, so it's really important to identify what are the half-built bridges, what are the things that you've done but actually you haven't followed all the way through. Have you been tracking it and looking at the data? Because that half-built bridge you was on could have been the bridge that's going to get you there. But, we left it and decided to go to something else before we really figured out this bridge could have been the one. And data is something that's going to pull you through. If you're tracking what you're doing, you can see that, okay, this bridge is building out well. Actually, if I just keep optimizing and change some things, I'm going to get to my KPIs. Okay, you've got to determine and understand how you're going to optimize your marketing efforts. You've got to audit your assets. You've got to look at what have you done so far, what worked, what didn't work. Am I connecting with other people? Do I have the same messaging that my audience has? Who is my audience? What are the segments within my audience? Does my offer really resonate with them? Okay. Over the years, I've really had to learn how to develop a growth plan that's going to really work and build a future-proof funnel and scale. Okay, and withstand those customer influxes. So strategy and you're having a blueprint is absolutely key. Until I did that, I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't get to where I want. Okay, so for me, I love working with underrepresented women, diversity, technology, digital marketing. That's what I do. It's really important for me to be able to help Black female entrepreneurs get unstuck, because I was stuck for years, for over a decade. Within that time, like I said, I've got my proof of work. I have spoken on stages for Google, Vodafone, JP Morgan, hosted a number of events. I'm a certified partner for Digital Marketeer, ClickFunnels, Kajabi, Go High Level, Graphy. I've coached and consulted in corporate organizations from the BBC to Penguin Publishing to the Financial Times to small architecture firms and advertising agencies. So I've been able to, over the years, develop experience of seeing what works and what doesn't work in multiple sectors. I built a social media. following, you know, an engaged one. We built a community online and being featured across many media platforms. So I just want to be able to pass on to you what I've gone through so you can build that 7-figure business and get unstuck. Okay, so let's talk about you, enough about me. So we're going to do a growth audit right now. If you haven't got a pen and paper, please go and get one. If you need your phone, you want to print screen, whatever it is that you want to do, make sure, and we're going to send this recording out. Let's do some work, okay? We've got 10 more minutes and let's do some work. So I want you to take some time out and I want you to really think about within my business right now. Right, let me move this floating bar, by the way. It's just kind of there, isn't it? I don't know if you can see it. Hide floating me, there we go, all gone. So this is a growth audit. I want you to think about, what do you do to make people aware of you? How do your prospects even know you exist? What is it that you do? I want you to jot it all down. Okay, what is it that you do in your business right now at this moment to actually make people aware that you exist, and not just any people, your target audience? Okay, I want you to think about, what is it that you do to engage? What do you do to engage with your audience? Do you ask them to call you? Have they got to pick up the phone? Do you ask them to email you? In this day and age, we don't always want to have communication till we found out more. Have you got a YouTube channel? Is there a social media channel that you use to give information more about who you are, what you stand for, that people go to? What channels are you using for engagement? If someone has been made aware of you and they want to engage with you because they're considering buying from you or considering opting into something with you, where do they go? Is it a traditional source of communication? Is it a social media platform? Because like I said, depending on your business model, not everybody wants to pick up a phone or send an email. Sometimes we want more information before we take it to that step. So what are your engagement channels? Okay, what are you doing for lead generation? Have you got anything in your business right now that people can opt into and it's going into a CRM so you can nurture those leads through email or texting or text and messaging? Works just as well on a Facebook or Instagram Messenger using something like ManyChat. Maybe it's a text list, but the most popular one is an email list. What are you doing for lead generation? What are you offering to people where they can opt in, leave their name, leave their email address, possibly their telephone number, depending on what the offer is, that you can now build out an email list to be able to contact your prospects? What are you doing? I want you to write this down. I want you to see this all in black and white and copy what you can see on the screen. Do it in a star shape. That's meant to be a star, by the way. Not that great at drawing. What are you doing for lead generation? You know, how do you convert? Where do you convert? Where are you picking up your business? Write it all down. Where are you picking up all your business? What you're going to find from doing this and answering this should give you some aha moments. And if you're having some aha moments, let us know what they are. So again, what are you doing for awareness? How are people even knowing you exist or know who you are? And it's very well saying something like a website, but if your website's not discoverable, that's not awareness. It's got to be something that you're actively doing where there is some form of content popping up when someone's either looking for you or they're on social media being social and somebody's talking about you or you're talking about yourself. But think about it. How do you make yourself aware to people? Are you picking up the phone and doing cold calling? Okay, are you on social media talking about what you do and how what you do can solve a problem, and then pushing people to somewhere to find out more? And then you're inviting people maybe to follow you on social media, on that social media channel, sorry. Okay, are you doing paid advertising? There's 3 sources of traffic: paid, borrowed, and owned. You can never have an awareness problem because if you need to, you can pay for traffic from one of the digital channels. Okay, borrowed traffic is where you're going to somebody else's community. Maybe your awareness is being a guest on their podcast. Maybe it's writing blogs for another community. So borrowed traffic is where you would go into somebody else's community, somebody else's email list, and you would be able to promote your services. You'll be able to promote your services within that community, and if they're interested, they will move over to follow you. Okay, sorry, I am just hiding some floating controls here. There we go, they're hidden. So think about it again. What do you do to make people aware that you exist? Engagement, the consideration page, stage. When people are considering you, they're going to want to go and find out more information about you. So that engagement could be phone, email, a chat box. It could also be a social media channel. Maybe they're going to watch a video about you on YouTube to learn more. That's going to help to get them to know, like, and trust you. So what are you doing for engagement? How are you engaging with your prospects to find so that you can give them more information after they've found you? What are you doing for opt-in? What are you doing for lead generation? Do you have a lead magnet? Do you have something that your prospect can opt into? Name, email address, telephone number, so you can build out a list. So you've got a list, it means that you can nurture that list and have conversion, which is more predictable sales. What are you doing to convert at the moment? Are you converting from an email list? Are you converting because you go and do webinars and talks? Maybe like you're a guest somewhere. Then after that, you've got a QR code. I want you to really think about, what do you do? The customers that you've got, where have they converted? Okay, a lot of this is going to start painting the picture of not only you seeing what you should be doing, but also seeing what works and doesn't work so you can adjust things. It's going to bring out some aha moments. So, again, please feel free to share those aha moments. Once you've done this side of the audit, the next thing I want you to look at is the ascension, expansion, and retention. ACV, I call it. So the ascension is the ascension ladder of, okay, once you've converted, what is the next stage in the customer life cycle of what it is that you're going to offer them? You would have converted just on one product or service. So where do we go here next? What is the ascension? What are you going to upsell them to? Fast food does this really well. Go to McDonald's. Do you want to upsell that? Do you want a large fries, a large drink? Do you want to downsell? Do you want something from the saver menu? Do you want to buy one, get one half price, which is a cross sell? So it's all about that ascension ladder, ascension ladder, sorry, and really thinking, what am I upselling? How are you going to expand? How are you going to retain customers to repeat buy from you? What are you doing at the moment to get reviews and testimonials, if anything at all? And how are you generating referrals? If you've delivered really, really great service, naturally people will tell other people about you. What are you doing? Have you got a system in place to generate referrals from the business that you are doing? Okay, so you're going to get this back on a replay. Make sure you print screen at the moment, and make sure you do this exercise as I'm speaking through. Continue to do it, continue to write it down, because you're going to get a lot of answers and direction from doing this. Okay, so this is the framework. Just so you know you're on the right track or not, the framework is all about the growth triad. Okay, the growth triad is just a way of you understanding all the ingredients that you're going to need to get unstuck. You're going to need a documented journey. You're going to need some type of strategy, a funnel map, a user journey. You need something that documents exactly how you're going to get a prospect to be made aware of you, buy from you, continue to buy from you, become a brand ambassador, advocate you, create content for you, and understand exactly how you're going to make that happen. Okay, you're also going to need tools and tactics. What software are you going to use? What automation are you going to use? How are you going to give people the information that they need at the exact time that they need it? Okay, without racking up a big staff or freelance bill. So in this day and age, what tools you're going to use, down to your website builder, your membership platform, if you're a course creator, your course platform, your community platform, how are you going to put, your content out? It's all a system that's all got tools and tactics. And in this day and age, that's software. So what's the tech you're going to use? And how are you going to manage everything? Manage everything? How are you going to measure everything? You need actionable metrics. So you need to be able, on that documented journey, that user journey, make sure that you've got the data set up, that you are tracking your whole user journey, also known as the funnel. If we're tracking it, it means that we're going to understand what we're doing really well at and what we're not doing so great at. Okay, if you can get people to be made aware of you, you can get them to engage with you, they opt in, but they're not converting. Well, there's something wrong between that touch point of opting in and actually converting. Maybe it's your offer, maybe it's your design. It can be the smallest thing, but if you're tracking everything, it's going to give you more insight. But it's really important that you have all of these three things to have predictable growth. If you just have one or two, it doesn't work. And I could give you so many case studies, but I haven't got time. But if you're the type of person that's got a documented journey, you understand all the technology and the automation, so you know you've got that, but then you're not tracking everything, you're not in tune with the data. You know, that's what's called a bull in the china shop, the documented journey and the tools and tactics. I'm laughing because that's me. Okay, you might understand the software, you understand all about data, but you don't have that funnel map, you don't have that documented journey, you don't have your strategy laid out. And what often tends to happen in this situation is it's a one hit, your business is a one hit wonder, because you're following the structure of the tech and not your end user, which is that human to human connection. And that's what the documented journey does. It's a customer journey. So it's based on our human ability to make connections. Maybe you're someone that loves data, you've got the documented journey, but the tech, the software, it just overwhelms you, and that's not your focus. And that's where you tend to get stuck in the mud, because you've got a plan, you're tracking it, but without the software, you're doing everything manually, which just means it's a nightmare. You know, you get stuck because you can't see past where you're at. Okay, so this is what we call the growth triad, and you want to do all three of these things to be able to win. Not two, not one by itself, but you need to be doing all three in unison. So the documented journey is just that customer journey. It's how do we make our audience aware? How and where are we going to engage with them? And you see the arrows on this document? Each arrow is your call to action. So it's awareness, engagement, which is the consideration stage. What am I going to do here? Also, what are the KPIs? What are the objectives that I need to hit in each one of these touch points? What's the software I'm going to use in each one of these softwares? This is the tracking I need to set up to measure that I'm going in the right direction in each one of these touch points. So, you know, you want to make people aware. You want them to consider you. They need somewhere to go to engage and find out more about you. Then they need to subscribe or opt in. So you've got their name, email address, possibly cell number. You want to be able to nurture them through an email or a messaging list. From there, you're going to convert. You know, once you've converted, you want to really excite your audience. Maybe it's a survey, maybe it's onboarding. You want to make them feel like they're so happy that they made the right decision. The ascension ladder. What are you going to do to upsell? Advocacy. What are you going to do to get, you know, more people like this? What are you going to do to get them to talk about how great your service or your product is? You know, how can you get them to create some content that now you can use in the excite stage and that engage and consideration stage? How will you get maybe your now customers, maybe affiliates, to actually promote on your behalf and they get a commission, depending on the model of your business? Okay, so this is the documented journey. And this is something that you need to really pencil out and really think to yourself, what do I want to do on each touch point? And what's the call to action to get the prospect from one touch point to another? Actionable metrics, you know, are you scoring everything you're doing in that aware stage, engage stage, subscribe stage? You know, week to week, are you reporting? You know, how many unique visitors do you have? How much following do you have? How much engagement do you have in all the channels that you're using in each stage of that documented journey? Okay, the tools and the tactics for each stage of the user journey, how are you tracking it? You know, Google GA4, Google Analytics, every single touch point is an event that you can set up and connect, so that your whole user journey is being tracked in GA4, which allows you to figure out, where am I going wrong, where am I going right, what do I need to optimize, how do I come better, which means you're moving predictable. You're not just leaving it to, you know, a whim or the universe. So that's your tools and tactics. So now it's your turn. I want you to go away and, you know, like I said, this is on a replay. Make sure you're taking screenshots and screen grabs. It's your turn to go away and really do that audit and think about those three areas of the documented journey, the tools and tactics being the software and the tech that you're going to use, and actually what are you doing to track everything so you can get better and better and better at what you're doing and move with intentional and move more predictably with what you're doing rather than just wishing on a star. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our Queen of Funnel show. And what I really want to do is just give you a QR code. We have a special offer on right now, okay, for our Funnel Mastery program. So, sorry, let's get to it. Sorry. There we go. Next step. So the Funnel Mastery program, there's a QR code on the screen. It's going to bring you through to a page where we've extended our Black Friday offer just to the Queen of Funnel show attendees. And it's just a really great program. It's a 6-week program that is really going to help you to gain clarity. It's going to help you set those KPIs and set those objectives. It's going to help you build out your whole user journey and your funnel strategically and really come up with a documented journey. It's going to help you come up with all the software and the tools that you're going to need, including the digital channels that you'll need to be able to promote yourself on, and also set up all of your data and tracking. So at the end of the 6 weeks, what you're left with is a blueprint and an architecture plan of exactly how you're going to build out your whole marketing system. So now you can either build it yourself, get someone to build it, maybe get some freelancers. But for many of you, with the advancement of software, you'll be able to build it out yourself. But it's really important that you've got those 3 phases in there, and you need to take the time out to really understand, what do I want to achieve? What are my KPIs? What are my objectives? Let me work backwards from here of where I want to be to where I am now. Let me put together a user journey that is wrapped around my end user to meet these objectives and use the KPI so I can constantly measure if I'm on track or not, rather than randomly just trying these different things. Let me think about what software am I going to be able to do this in. Let me really think about the digital marketing channels I'm going to use to be discoverable on and be found on. And just thinking a lot more strategically and having a plan that in the pit of your stomach, do you know what? I know I can do this work. It makes sense. I can see why my audience would buy this. I can feel it. You've got that clarity. You've got that confidence. So it's an absolutely no-brainer price that we are doing for Black Friday. For those of you that have taken the Funnel Mastery course, we've had some brilliant feedback. And don't worry, some of you might be thinking, well, why is that price such a great Black Friday offer? But you two also got a really great offer. And don't forget, you also got lifetime access to our community classroom, where you get to turn up to group coaching calls twice a month and get fully supported even after the program. Those of you that do the program, you are welcome to join in if you wish to, but this really is a no-brainer price that will get you exactly where you need to be and have a strategy and a plan for 2026 that you can stick to without, going back and forth and constantly just feeling stuck. So it's time to get unstuck, people. So I'm going to stop sharing. Oh, how do I do that? There we go. I do it there. Stop sharing. How do I come back to this? Hey, Sandra. Hey, Abigail. So nice to see people. So that brings us to the end of our Queen of Funnel show today. We're back next week, Tuesday. So please make sure you attend. I know that we usually go out on a Tuesday. We had some technical difficulties yesterday, which is why we said we're still going ahead and we'll do it today. So I know our numbers are a little bit low, but we'll be sending this out on a replay. And don't forget, in the new year, the Queen of Funnel show is going to change. Whatever problem you've got, you're going to submit it. And every week, I'm going to choose someone to consult and show exactly how you can just use that framework and use a funnel to get yourself back on track. Like I said, quite often we are given examples that make sense to us when someone's delivering something to us. And then when we try to apply it to our own business, we can often just get lost. Because we can't see it in what it looks like for ourselves. It was all great when we were giving the examples. So now in January we'll be able to actually use your business. I'll have my whiteboard, my marker pen, love it, where I'll be able to map out some frameworks. So it was great to see you here today, ladies. I will see you next week, back to the normal day of Tuesday, 4 p.m. UK time, which is 11 a.m. Eastern, which is, I believe, 9 a.m. Central. Don't quote me. Could be 10 a.m. It's that. I've just been told it's 10 a.m. Central. So I will see you next week, Tuesday. And if once you've registered once, you've registered for the whole series. So, ladies, take care. Before I do go and I rush, any questions, by the way? That's fine. I just thought I'd ask. I saw your pretty faces looking at me, and I thought, let me ask before I go.
I do have a question. What's a good, because I like this whole concept of funnels is new to me. Like I've working in corporate, I've heard the marketing people talking about it, but now that I have my own business, I'm like, oh, I wish I would have listened So like, where's a good place to start? Like to really, and I understand that you're offering a great place to start, but even everything you just went through feels so overwhelming that I'm like, oh my gosh, if I start this course, am I gonna quit halfway through? Because it's just like all up
I
here.
get where you're coming from.
So,
So the
so
best
yeah,
place
like
to,
what?
oh no, 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 go
Okay,
ahead. No,
sorry.
no, go ahead.
No, no, that's the question. Where's a great place to
Best
start?
place to start is a documented journey. It's literally mapping out the user journey. And Abigail was on this call with me. Even on the program, she's done it. We do it together. It's not that overwhelming when we do it together because I really break it down. You can see her nodding. We do it bit by bit. Like, that was a snapshot today. So, literally on that program, it's 6 weeks. Every week, you've got to do an online class. Then after that online class, you meet with me and up to 5 other women. That's it. And there's a consultancy session for 2 hours live. So there's no overwhelm. So even when you listen to it and you've got the frameworks, and even at that moment where you're doing the online bit, you might feel that bit overwhelmed. You get to come on the consultancy call with me and other women that are also building their funnel out. And that's when I will simplify it and say, okay, let's chunk this out. It's a bit like saying your telephone number, isn't it? Like when someone asks for your number, you got to flow. Like I'm 077 232 332 0 4. You chunk it out. And that's what we do in the consultancy sessions. We chunk it out and say, okay, let's take a step back. And I literally will not coach, I'll consult. And I'm going to throw things at you. I'm going to get you to think. And throughout the 6 weeks, you often take 2 steps back, 5 steps forward. 2 steps back, 5 steps forward. And you need to do that, Sandra. The reason is if you don't, in the real world, you'll just keep trying these things and hemorrhaging and burning through money. So you get 6 weeks to keep going back and forth and just get rid of the overwhelm and come up with a plan. So it's also the fact that you get to, does that make sense? Just kind of keep going back over things with someone. And I'm there to say, okay, awareness is there, engagement's here. If this is your opt-in, are you sure that makes sense? Because this case study says blah, blah, blah. What did you learn from what you've done before? And just being able to get out of your own head, it takes the overwhelm out of it. When you're trying to do something day to day and 10,000 other tasks, that I experience it every day. The overwhelm's real.
Yeah. It's just the list just gets longer of things to do as opposed to like
And
seeing outcomes.
yeah, and that's why taking some time out and just to stand still and get a plan done, it means that you don't keep doing all the time. When you don't have a plan and you don't work strategically, you're constantly doing because it's like, I've got to make this work. I've got bills to pay. I need to get to where I'm going. There's this feeling of it's not just overwhelm, it's anxiety because you've also started a business for a reason to get results that you want. And when you don't get those results, it's frustrating. I trust me, I feel you. I feel you. So you've got to get out of your own head. But the first place to start is a documented journey, but it's not a framework for any other coach, not for a funding institution, not for a bank. It's got to be a documented strategy. And I'm a visual person. I don't like loads of words. I prefer to see a visual map of what I've got to do. But it's got to make sense to you, nobody else. Because you've got to feel comfortable in your plan that this is going to work. So you keep pushing forward. One of my favorite books is Think Rich, Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I've read that book well over 10 times, and I always tend to read it in January. And one of the chapters talks about the man that bought a piece of land that kept drilling for oil, drilling for oil, drilling for oil. He hemorrhaged all his money, took loans out, and he lost everything, and he had enough, and he walked away from it. The person that bought it from him decided to think about that saying, you've got 6 hours to cut a tree down. Let me spend 5 hours thinking about how I'm going to do it and sharpening my tools. So they took everything that person had failed at, looked at it, optimized it. Within a month, they found the oil.
It breaks my heart.
But there's loads of that book's a brilliant book. And there's any one book that every entrepreneur needs to read. It's Think Rich, Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, without a shadow of a doubt. And that's what we want to avoid. We want to avoid all of that back and I don't know if that makes that constant just doing things and expecting that boom, it's going to come in. I spent years just praying, thinking I'm a good person. God, I work really hard. Like, why is it not happening for me?
And
And it
my
was
answer, I'm your
yeah,
like typical Black woman, and my answer is like, oh, just start a new business. Like, Just do another one.
That's me. That's all on. Just so you know, Sandra, that is every entrepreneur globally. We just can't help ourselves. We've always got more than one idea on the road, and we're thinking, you know, well, if this one doesn't hit, that one will hit. And we're one person. And I tell you what, black women are just brilliant at it because we're used to handling so much pressure. It's like we just want to add the pressure on.
Yeah, I currently have two businesses running simultaneously, and I was frustrated because I'm trying to add a third one and I have to wait. And I'm like, why do I have to wait? Like,
And I'll tell you why we have to wait. And it took me a decade to realize this because we've got to monetize on one. Once we've monetized on one and we know how to do it, the others become a lot more easier rather than spreading ourselves thin. So that's why, even though my courses are online, I do the consultancy. And that's why I've created small cohorts because you get peer to peer learning. It makes a huge difference when you're in a room, even virtual, and there's other women doing the exact same thing you are. And then you start to see things from their perspective. And then it allows us to take the learnings and apply it to your business rather than just being this generic framework that a lot of coaches will offer. It's got to be based around your audience, not any framework, not any coach. It has to be. So honestly, it's worth doing. I'm not just saying it because it's my program. And a lot of the things in there that we even go into AI, project management tools, and also there's support afterwards as well. We've got a community classroom, which means that you still get supported after the 6 weeks. It's not a deliver it and then dump you and go. So I will put
thank
the
you
no
for answering the
problem.
question.
No problem. Princess, before I go, let's see who can do it the fastest. I don't know where it's open. If we could put the link in the chat for the Black Friday, that'll be good. Oh, actually, I found it, Princess, not to worry. Because we've got another cohort that is about to start. Oh gosh, I've lost you. Where have you all gone? I really need to shut some screens down. And Abigail, speaking of community classroom, we was on yesterday. Danielle was there. We'll be back next week Tuesday as well in the community classroom as well. So if you haven't got your login or access details, make sure you reach out to us.
I did send an email because that time I have a standing meeting for work, so I'll
Is
never
that
be able to
oh no,
make it.
is that weekly? Well, okay. Let's look at that because what I might do is have one time one week and another. I'll get Princess of the team to reach out to you. Does that make any sense? Because
Yeah,
we was actually speaking about this in a team meeting. Princess was saying maybe on one of the group calls I should do it on another day to give that flexibility. You've actually just confirmed that.
yeah.
So we'll reach back out. So it'll be good to catch up with you before we break for Christmas.
Yeah, that would be lovely.
Yeah, definitely. So, Princess, it might be that next week we change the date and time, and in the new year, maybe we do the first Tuesday and the like last Wednesday or Thursday. I'll make sure they're different days. But
That would be wonderful.
perfect. Ladies, I'm going to love you and leave you today just because I had got another call. It was great to have you here. Inga just entered. Inga, a replay will be going out, so make sure that you catch up and watch it. Okay. Ladies, take care. Nice to see you. Bye bye.